Deepest, Darkest Secret, Chapter 19. With the boys at school Friday, Christine calls Sophia and asks her to swing by the house if she has time today. While she waits, she takes care of the usual household chores. 4 boys make a lot of dirty clothes. The boys help with the laundry on their days off from school, but there's too much to leave for just those days. To make things easier, each boy has his own clothes hamper, and she does one child's clothes each day. By the weekend, the hampers are mostly filled again, which still leaves something for the boys to help with. Once the clothes are dry, she puts them back in the hamper and puts the hampers by their beds so they can fold them or hang them and put them away. Today, she's washing Anthony's clothes. When she puts them in the dryer and turns it on, she can hear something banging against the dryer drum. The boys are always leaving things in their pockets. She reminds them on a regular basis to make sure they empty them before they go in the hamper, but they're kids. Opening the dryer, she moves around the warm, wet clothes, searching for what has fallen out. To her surprise, she finds a small 4-inch pocket knife. This is definitely not something he came here with, and she never bought it for him. Why does he have a knife? And where did he get it from? She puts it away in a drawer in her office and returns to her chores. Guess that's another thing she needs to tell Sophia about. Sophia shows up a few hours later. "Hey, Christine, everything okay? You sounded a little concerned on the phone." Christine sighs. "We're going to need some coffee for this conversation. You have the time?" "Oh, no. Yes, you're the last visitor on my list today. I figured I'd give us some time to discuss what you needed, as well as my date the other night." "That's right. You didn't call me to do my fact-checking job. I guess he didn't say anything that made you suspicious." Sophia giggles. "No, he didn't. He was the perfect gentleman. He opened doors, pulled out my chair, and even paid for the meal. It used to be where the man always paid for the meal on a date, but these days women screaming about equality and all of that, a lot of times my date asks to split the bill. Not that I mind. I always go with the intention of paying for my meal. Every once in a while, you'll get that guy who expects you to pay for everything." "Ah, yes. If we only were living in the 60s. Where did you go?" "We went to Gianni's Ristorante. The lasagna was great, and the cannoli were to die for. He's a sweetheart. I think I could really fall for him." "Aw, that's wonderful. Troy's always been a good guy. He deserves someone special like you. It's so hard in a small town to find someone. The sea doesn't have as many fish, and a lot of the fish have already nibbled the same bait. I hope this lasts a long time." "We shall see. I asked him about past relationships, but he just said he hasn't found anyone with the same values as his. You know what that's all about?" "I think I do. People talk a lot around here, but I'm not telling you the rumors. I'm sure the topic will come up. Are you planning on seeing him again?" "We already have another date planned." "Sort of. I'm going to join him and Luke on their fishing trip Saturday." "Good luck with that. My dad used to take me fishing all the time when I was a kid. I can't say I was a fan. Long hours of sitting there quietly waiting for the off chance a fish would find your bait and take it." "I hadn't really thought about that. I was so excited to have a chance to spend more time with him." She frowns. "Don't let me ruin it before it even happens. Who knows, you might like it." "Maybe. I'll like being with Troy and spending time with Luke. How's he doing, by the way?" "That's partly why I called you over here." "What happened?" "I think the learning part is still going well. There was an incident yesterday." Christine tells her all about the phone call from the school and Anthony's subsequent in-school suspension. "Then today, as I was doing Anthony's laundry, I found a pocket knife. No idea where that came from." Sophia shakes her head. "That's not good. Are you worried about the safety of the other boys?" "I really am. It's not the first time he's gotten physical. I've heard from Kevin and Marcus both that he's tripped and pushed Luke. I saw him stomp on Luke's foot in church Sunday. He's often rude to Luke for no reason. He might do better in a home where he's the only child like he was before his parents died. I don't want it to seem like I'm choosing Luke over Anthony. Anthony has been with me longer." Sophia opens her briefcase and pulls out the paperwork that will need to be filled out to relocate Anthony. I don't see it that way. I'm not sure what it is about Luke that has Anthony acting like this, but it's definitely not acceptable behavior. I think you're right about finding a family where it's just him. Are you all right keeping him here until I can find another placement, or would you rather I take him? I think as long as it's only a few days, it'll be all right to leave him, until you can find another family to take him. I really hate this. I feel like I've failed him. If I hadn't taken in Luke, would these things still be happening? Luke has never done anything to him. Don't think that way. He may have some underlying issues, especially with the loss of his parents. I put in the request when he first came into the system to have a therapist assigned to him. They're so overwhelmed. I'll follow up with him again. What do I do with the knife? I'll take it with me. We don't need him to have it right now, and you don't need any of them finding it. Let's get this filled out. I'll head back to the office and start making phone calls. Back at the office, Sophia enters all the information about Anthony's relocation into the computer. This one might be a tough sell. She has to be honest with the foster parents about the issues pertaining to a prospective placement. The third couple she calls, the Nelsons, agree to take on Anthony, but they say they cannot take him until Sunday after church. Sophia is optimistic about this placement. The Nelsons have said from the beginning they wouldn't mind a child with some behavioral issues because they have a horse and have taken courses on how equine therapy can help kids like Anthony. She lets Christine know and then goes home for the day. Chapter 20. 5 o'clock comes too early on a Saturday morning, Sophia thinks. Why did she agree to this? Oh, that's right. Troy. Last night she dreamed of the day they'd have. All of them at his grandmother's cabin, fishing for hours, laughing and joking. It was all wonderful until it turned into a nightmare when Troy pulled a 6-foot alligator up on his line and they all ran screaming. The alligator chased them all the way back to Troy's truck. Sophia has never been to Troy's grandmother's cabin, but she has a feeling the distance from the pier to the truck isn't as long as in her dream. When they climbed safely into it, the alligator climbed on the hood and snapped at the windshield trying to get in. That's the last thing she remembers before she woke up. Sophia knows it was a dream, but the sight of that alligator still haunts her hours after it happened. There are gators out there, and snakes, and who knows what else. Resisting the urge to look up all the dangerous swamp creatures they may run across, she dresses as close as she can to what Troy suggested. She figures jeans would be better than leggings, but with the cold, she puts the leggings on under the jeans. She pulls on a long-sleeve V-neck t-shirt, which is the only thing long-sleeve she has other than dress clothes. Unsure if it will keep her warm enough, she decides to grab a jacket and gloves before they leave. If it gets too warm later in the day, she can always take off the jacket. The jeans can be easily shed, and she'll have the leggings on so she won't need to bring extra clothes. Sophia boils the water to make her some instant grits and puts a few pieces of bacon in the microwave. With breakfast made, she sits on the sofa, legs folded underneath her. She grabs her devotional and opens it to today's date. Spending time with God in the morning is her routine. She finds it calms her nerves and helps her get through the day. By the time she's cleaning up her dishes, Troy is knocking on the door. Luke called shotgun, so it looks like you'll be sitting in the back, he teases when she opens the door. Oh, did he now? Wouldn't that be funny if it was his first word? After Sophia locks her door, Troy takes her hand for the walk to the truck. Right? Troy says. He's all smiles. He was happy to see me when I picked him up, but the smile grew even bigger when I told him you were coming with us. He's such a sweet kid. He reminds me of someone, but I can't quite put my finger on who. Oh, by the way, my request for the homeschool families in Tangipahoa and the surrounding parishes has been pushed back. I called them yesterday from work, but they're backed up with requests. I might get the information next week. I'm not holding my breath. They move as slow as molasses. That's disappointing. When you get the list, maybe I can help out. We could cross-check it with foster families. I hate that I'm thinking this way, but maybe he's already in the foster care system and his foster family's too afraid to tell anyone he's missing? Or maybe they aren't saying anything because the check's still coming in. I find it hard to believe someone doesn't know their child is missing. I don't think that'll be a problem. You're part of the team helping him, so it wouldn't go against any departmental guidelines. When they reach the truck, Luke is indeed sitting in the passenger seat with a grin that stretches from ear to ear. He waves enthusiastically at her as she approaches. Sophia smiles and waves back. Troy opens the back door for Sophia. She notices that the running boards have been reattached and smiles. He helps her into the truck. Once behind the wheel, he ensures both Luke and Sophia have their seatbelts fastened before he takes off. Good morning, Luke, Sophia greets him. I see you claim the front seat, so I would have to squeeze in back here. Luke looks into the back seat at her and points to himself and then to the back. No, sweetie, I was just kidding with you. It's all right. Stay up there. I'll be fine. Luke, Sophia will get the front seat on the way back, okay, buddy? It's only fair, Troy tells him. Luke claps and nods. He probably wouldn't have fussed at all if Troy made him move. While they're driving, Sophia looks into the bed of the truck. There's a red ice chest with a white lid, 3 fishing poles, a net, and a tackle box. Is that our lunch? She asked Troy. Well, there are drinks in there, but the bait is too. We'll empty it when we get there and fill it with water in case we catch something we want to keep. Sophia gags a bit at the thought of worms in the cooler with the drinks. She knows they're not roaming free in the ice chest, but it still seems unsanitary. The two of them keep up a steady stream of conversation on the way to the swamp. Sophia's never been out to this part of Prelo. It's not part of the incorporated city at all. An address out here might still be Prelo, but the parish is responsible for the upkeep of the streets. The sun is coming up over the water, and it's quite beautiful. She wishes she would have brought her camera, but her cell phone will have to do. As they pull into the driveway, Sophia gets nervous. Not only is she about to go sit on a pier for hours, doing something she's never done before, and she's not sure she's going to like, but she's going to meet Troy's grandmother. It's close enough to meeting his parents that it makes her a little sick to her stomach. It seems a little early in the relationship for a meet-the-parents date, but she knows it's only because this is where he likes to fish. Are we going to wake your grandmother with this big old truck? Nah, she's been up since 4, I'm sure. I think the older you get, the earlier you wake up. My parents still get up at 6 every morning, even though they don't have jobs or anything important to do. Sure enough, as the cabin comes into view, Sophia sees his grandmother sitting in a rocking chair on the front porch drinking her coffee. The cabin is very close to what she expected. They all get out of the truck and walk over to greet her. Troy gives his normal greeting and does his best to introduce Sophia. Thankfully, he already had Cindy call ahead and explain to his grandmother that they were all coming. Cindy said she was excited to get to see Luke again and looking forward to meeting Sophia. Of course, she was going to make a big pot of jambalaya and have some fresh French bread and chocolate cake for dessert. Sophia shakes Grandmare's hand and greets her in perfect French. Grandmare's mouth drops open, and she begins speaking rapidly to Sophia, who is nodding her head and smiling. Still holding on to Sophia's hand, she is grinning, and Troy knows this meeting couldn't have gone any better. Troy's eyes widen. You speak French? Oui, she says with a wink. That's great. Maybe. You do plan on hanging out with Luke and me still, right? You're not going to let my grandmother monopolize your time? I mean, I know she doesn't get to talk to a lot of people since she doesn't speak English, and she's going to want to talk your arm off. I promise I'll split my time. I don't get to practice my French much either, you know. It's a dying language around here. Most of the older generation who knew it didn't pass it on to their children. In fact, they demanded that their kids speak English in the house so that they'd fit in with the others at school. Yep, that's kind of what Grandmere did. It's a shame. Will you tell her that we're going to get set up and that you're going to split your time like you said, please? Troy asks. Sophia does as he requests and then heads back to the truck to help Troy unload. They bring the supplies down to the pier. Troy grabs some stools from the back porch. He shows both Luke and Sophia how to hold the pole, how to cast, and how to pull back the line a little at a time so that it looks like the worm is swimming through the water. They each practice a little before it's time to put the bait on. He uses the pole meant for Sophia to show Luke how to put the bait on the hook and hands Sophia the pole. Then he has Luke do it. Luke tries his hardest, but the worm is too wiggly. After a few unsuccessful attempts, he looks at Troy and holds out the worm to him as if to say, "You do it." "All right, I'll do it this time, but you have to try again next time, okay?" He baits the hook on the first attempt and hands the pole back to Luke. Luke nods, swings the pole back, and casts the line into the water. "Not bad," Troy praises him. "Just keep pulling it in a little at a time." They fall quiet as they cast, reel in, and repeat. After about 20 minutes of this, Sophia looks at Troy. "How long is it going to take before we get a bite?" "Shh," he says, and then in a whisper, "You'll scare the fish away if you talk too loudly." Sophia whispers back to him, "Sorry, this is the perfect activity for Luke, but not for a date," she teases. He stares at her for a moment. I didn't think about that. I just wanted you with us." "Oh, and I'm happy to be here. Please don't think I meant anything by that. I didn't mean to dump on your date idea." "Hey, it's fine. You're right, really." Just then, Troy sees Luke's bobber go under the water, and Luke stands up, wide-eyed, and looks at Troy for what to do. "Reel it in, man. You can go fast now. You don't want him to run off with your line." Troy grabs the net as Luke furiously reels in his line. The fish is putting up a fight, but not one that Luke can't handle. As the bobber gets close, they see a nice-sized bass on the hook. Luke smiles and reels it in. As he pulls the fish up out of the water, Troy puts the net under it and tells Luke he can put the pole down. Troy grabs the fish and holds it out to Luke. "Your first fish! High five!" Luke slaps Troy's hand, grinning. "Do you want to hold it?" Luke nods and holds out his hand. "Let me show you how to take it off the hook first." Troy shows him how to get the fish off and then models how to handle the fish, one hand at the mouth and the other supporting the body. Both he and Sophia take pictures. Sophia watches with admiration at how the guys are interacting. Troy's going to make a good dad one day. Well, that thought came out of nowhere and suddenly puts Sophia in a somber mood. When Troy looks to her, he can see it all over her face. "What's wrong?" She seems to snap out of it. "Nothing. I was just thinking." "Sorry," she answers. To Luke, she says, "Great job reeling that fish in. You caught on this whole thing in no time. Do you think it's big enough for us to eat?" Luke looks to Troy for the answer. He has no idea, but wouldn't it be neat if he caught his own lunch? "It'll give us a couple of fillets. We'll need to catch a few more to make a full meal." He can tell that Sophia is now back to thinking, and he doesn't think it's about something good. He tells Luke to go ahead and try to bait the hook again, and then pulls Sophia to the side. "Are you sure you're okay? You look sad." "Yeah, no, I'm okay. I don't know why that affected me that way. Maybe I'm just sad for that poor fish that's now going to be our lunch." That doesn't seem quite right to Troy, but he lets it go. "Do you want to take a break and go have a talk with Grandmère?" "That would be nice. I've been sitting with you for less than a half an hour, though. Are you sure you don't mind?" "Not at all. It makes me happy to know she has someone to talk to. My sister calls every week, and she's fluent, but I really don't think Grandmère talks to anyone else. It must get pretty lonely. Go, have fun." He gives her a peck on the cheek, and she blushes. She runs her hand down his arm from his shoulder to his hand and squeezes his hand before she lets go. "Thanks," she says.